Now back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gaston's White River Resort, and Barton Power Sports.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Greg Ratliff is our show producer, pushing all the buttons, trying to squeeze in maybe the best show we've ever had in my 14 years. And I'm really glad that we have interpreters in the room with me this morning. Ron Wong, who he just got through interpreting Scott Martin's technical side. And now I've got Bill Cooksey in here to interpret whatever this next guest may say.
Hey, we're getting way over my head.
Getting over your head, yeah. Hey, we don't even have to introduce this next person. All I got to say is Jessie. And you folks in Memphis, it's almost like, when you have first name only like this,
That's right.
Jessie,
a really true rock star of the Mid-South. And
I just want to thank Jessie Duff for being on the show and for autographing me a picture at the NRA convention in Nashville.
Wow.
Dave Gabbert.
I'm jealous.
I
am so jealous.
Did you remember doing that, Jessie?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, it's right up there. I've got you right in my office with Katuna Lorig and Kim Rohde, and there's Jessie Duff.
Awesome.
I'm up there with royalty.
You and royalty. It's our good friend Jessie Duff out of Olive Branch right now visiting some folks down in Florida, but everybody knows her as the quickest pistol shooter alive, I guess. I mean, when we get to that. But what a great year, Jessie. I mean,
thank you.
I know you've been on our show several times, but are you still pinching yourself, Jessie, at what's going on with your life?
Yes, absolutely. I'm living the dream and just very blessed to have made a career out of what I love to do and to be on board with so many wonderful sponsors and, in my opinion, the best in the industry. So God has been good to me.
and this thing now with the Women of Weatherby, I want to talk to you a little bit about that because that's your latest thing. Then we'll get into what's happened in 2015. Tell our listeners out there a little bit about the Women of Weatherby.
Well, Women of Weatherby was started this year, and it's a program that Weatherby wanted to do to cater to the largest growing group in the firearms industry right now, and that's women.
Yeah.
And they noticed that they don't make a product that is for women. And a lot of companies in the industry don't have that. So they wanted to put their money where their mouth is and step up to the plate and design a rifle for women by women. And the group consists of myself, Haley Heath, Carissa, and what we're doing is we're giving Weatherby our input and helping them design this rifle. And we've got the first rendition done, and they passed it around the country to each one of us to see what we thought about it and to give likes or dislikes. And we're trying to share the entire process with all the women out there as we go along. And we want them to go to the website. It's womenofweatherby.com.
Yeah,
And we're wanting them to give us their feedback, maybe suggestions, or maybe things they've seen from the videos that we're showing right now of the first prototype, what they like, what they don't like, maybe something they want to see that no one else has offered. We want it to be something for every woman out there, and we want them to feel a part of this process. And right now they're doing the name contest. We're trying to name what the first rifle is going to be. So there's a contest on the website for that. But it's a really exciting program. I'm honored to be a part of it. And Weatherby has really stepped up to the plate and are just really trying to take care of the ladies out there and give them a product that they want and can use. Have you seen it? I mean, have you had it in your hand? I mean, I have. Can you give us a little tip? I mean, what's it? Yeah. Also, I'll tell you, I have a video posted on my Facebook page.
Okay.
It's the Weatherby video I took of when I received the rifle. But for the listeners, it has what they've done is they've made this stock from scratch. They didn't take another stock and cut it down or make a few changes. They made it from scratch. And what they've done is they've made it lighter, and it's going to be shorter. It has a thinner grip, and it has a shorter distance from the grip to the trigger. Okay. It has a higher cheek weld, so that when you mount it, it fits perfectly for women. Because that's one thing that I've always found is that being ladies, we have higher cheekbones and
Yeah, you
we're
do.
made different.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it
really?
just doesn't
Okay.
always fit.
Yeah.
So they've made a higher cheek weld. It's a shorter barrel so that it's going to be lighter. The prototype that they sent, it was a full barrel. They hadn't done any fluting or anything yet, so it was on the heavier side, but they are going to change that as we go through the process.
Cool.
It's really a nice. It's going to be beautiful, and it's going to have some accents and just decorative things, if you will, because it is for us ladies.
Wow, this is going to be pretty cool. And again, we're talking to our good friend Jessie Duff out of Olive Branch, Mississippi. She's based out of it, and Jessie, I've got to admit, what a year 2015 has been. But really, what hit me was that, and I love your Twitter thing here that that you got to meet David Blaine.
I did.
The magician and the illusionist. Now,
Yes.
where did you meet him?
That was down in Orlando.
You don't know David
South
Blaine? No, he's
Cruise.
shaking his head. Now, David Blaine is pretty well known.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
He
All right.
is. He's a street magician,
Yeah.
or he does street magic, but he does all kinds of other stuff. He's an endurance performer. I mean, he's worldly known and just incredible. He will blow your mind. But I was down in Florida shooting the Pro-Am Championship.
Yeah.
And another friend who he was doing some work with in the area just introduced us and had the opportunity to sit down and see some really impressive magic tricks.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I still can't figure them out.
well, I mean, as long as he didn't make you disappear. That's all I care about,
Maybe I should be embarrassed, but Jessie Duff is a lot bigger deal in my world.
Oh, I know that. But hey, she posted it on
thank you.
Twitter, man.
Hey, I'll take that.
I'm keeping up with Twitter here with Jessie, and everything like
Yep.
that. But hey, 2015, you started right off.
Yes, sir.
The single stack national championships, the steel challenge national championship,
Mm-hmm.
ladies open champion. Wow. So 2015's picking up. What's ahead for Jessie Duff?
Coming up for the rest of the year, I have a few USPSA matches, area championships, all to get me prepared for the two big matches at the end of the year. One is the IPSC National Championship, and that's one of our World Shoot qualifiers. And then after that, we have our USPSA National Championship, which is also a world qualifier. So those are two big ones. I want to make sure I'm ready to go and on my game to help ensure a spot on the next World Shoot for Team USA. So I'll be focusing on that throughout the end of the year.
And I tell you what, you started your 15. I don't know. You're not supposed to ask somebody how old they are, but you're pretty.
She's still a teenager.
Huh? You'll be 30 next week?
I will be 30 next week. I'm not ashamed to say how old I am.
You got a big party planned for this world-changing event when you turn 30?
I don't know. I'm leaving it up to Matthew. I'm going to see what he has surprised for me.
Yeah, let's see what her husband, Matt Duff, of course, former Cardinal pitcher and things like that. I'm sure he's going to surprise you with something. But
I'm sure he will. It'll be perfect, whatever it is.
So if you will be 30, that means that half your career now has been involved in this sport. If I'm not mistaken, you said you started when you're 15.
I started at 15.
Does this 15 years, was that first 15 years slower than this one? Has this one been really fast?
Yeah, it did start off slow, like any career, I would imagine. And I started in cowboy action shooting.
I know you did. Cowboy action shooting. For you listeners out there, just look some folks that do that. What was your handle again?
It was Jasmine Jessie.
What was it? What was it again?
Jasmine Jessie.
Jasmine Jessie. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I remembered it was something like that. But you got started in cowboy action.
Started in cowboy action with my dad, and from my very first competition, I knew that I didn't know how or if I could make a living at that, but that's all I wanted to do was shoot.
Yeah.
And as I kept shooting and competing, I was introduced to more modern disciplines.
Yeah.
And once I crossed over to those, I saw where sponsorships came into play, and there was an industry behind it that you could have the opportunity to make a career in shooting, but you had to be at the very top. So I just set my sights on that, and I started watching all of these amazing shooters in my industry, men and women, and I just tried to copy what they were doing. I watched how they would shoot. I'd look at their videos and break things down, and just that was my goal. I wanted to shoot for a living, and I wanted to be the best shooter that I could be. And with my dad's help and coaching and hours and hours and hours on the range and many rounds downrange, I've been very, very blessed to be able to do what I do. I wake up every morning and my office is a gun range. So
that's a pretty good office place right there. That's a great office place. Well, before we let you go, Jessie, I know there's a lot of my listeners out there that are maybe some young girls or some folks that said, man, and I know there's a lot of folks really look up to you. I know what advice would you give to these young folks? So we just got through talking about some shotgun competition and things. What advice do you give a young person that would like to do what you're doing?
I would, my advice would be to, first of all, firearm safety is very important to me.
Yeah.
So they need to learn in a safe environment and learn to be comfortable with a firearm and know and understand the firearm safety rules and be able to reiterate those in competition. Second would be to, with the support of their parents and everything, find the discipline that they like and would like to compete in and start there. And, I see a lot of younger shooters get involved in shooting and just put everything they have into it. But then by the time they get a little bit older and can make something of it, they're kind of burnt out on it.
Yeah.
So I would just make sure that, focus on having fun and doing well. But if you're at a young age, you don't want to push them too hard to make something out of it right away. I was very blessed. My parents didn't force me to shoot. I simply fell in love with it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I would just put them out there, let them shoot, let them have fun right now. And as they go, set obtainable goals for them as they're growing and learning. And that way they can see improvement. They see it right away, and then set another goal. That way they're not overwhelmed with what they think they're going to have to do. But definitely get them involved in the shooting sports. Find a discipline that they like to compete in, and it's fun for them. And just continue to get them out there and share and grow our sport. And as you go, as they go through the sport and, start maybe winning a match here or there or their division and just kind of building a resume, then that's when you can take a look at it and say, okay, well, I've got something here and I might want to make something out of it. And then you can look at a bigger goal and a long-term picture. But for those young shooters, I just want to see them out there having fun and enjoying it and not putting the pressure on themselves of, well, I've got to make a living out of this. They have time for that later. I just want to see them enjoying the sport and having fun out there shooting.
Well, you're a great ambassador for the sport, Jessie, and I know that.
Thank you so much.
I've watched you now for several years, and as you've progressed, and you're up front and you're very personable, and just keep up the good work. You got a lot of fans up here in Memphis, you know that, and tell your husband hello. Hope you have a great birthday number.
Thank you.
30.
Number 30.
Number 30. Stay in touch with us, and we'll talk to you down the road. Okay, Jessie, we appreciate you. Thank you,
so much,
girl.
Larry. Y'all have a great day.
Bye-bye. All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Try to follow up Jessie Duff with Kim Rohde on ESPN 790.
Wow.